evening.
Here we are, the final Thursday show. This is just like Daniel Craig leaving Bond. It's the end of an era, and this is far more important than Daniel Craig. I'll be honest with you.
Certainly is. Our final online show until the next lockdown.
COVID-20. Let's bring this shit on, man. Let's do this. We're in a petrol crisis. Oh, Christy, bless you, Christy, for Christy. We're in a petrol crisis here in the UK, and as true as Dave Chawner, Vlad's got internet issues. This is brilliant. This is fantastic. The whole entire show is just gonna literally be me. This is it. But yes, no, we're in a petrol crisis. We're moving. We're in a petrol crisis here in the UK. Can't get petrol anywhere. There's a shortage. But I found a tip, and this is specifically for the UK people who are watching the show. Go to a dogging site, right, and then find any of the cars. Just knock on the window and just go, "Excuse me, mate, where'd you get your fuel from? Petrol or diesel? Petrol. All right, that's cool." But yes, it's that's bless Jay. We're gonna miss you all too. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this show. We've done this show almost 1 year, 11 months. We did this.
11 months.
And for at least 6 months of it, we literally did every single week. Every single week. Yeah. And a slightly topical note, one of our guests, Lynn Ruth Miller, very sadly died a couple of weeks ago, and so on. And she was one of our very, very first guests.
Lynn was on our very first show.
Yes.
I mean, what an inspiring woman she was. I mean, she was 87. She didn't start stand up until she was in her 70s, and I think all of us just thought she'd outlive us, but no. True inspiration. And
that much energy.
Jay. I wouldn't knock on the window of anyone at a dogging site, asking them whether they were using diesel or unleaded, because they just start talking about the fact they had to lower their emissions.
Oh yes, Christy remembers Lynn as well. Yes, we make legends. We've had quite a few controversial guests on the show. We've had Leo Kirst on the show as well, which to be perfectly honest, I didn't find him as right wing as I thought I was going to find him. But no, absolutely fine. Who else did we have? We had filmmakers, we had improvisers, we had so many other comics on. I'm going to miss this. I really am going to miss it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you who we had on now and again was Dave Chawner.
Once or twice.
Yes. Once or twice. This is a show. Quite often we've done it with two hosts, and of course the perfect way to finish is to do it without the host, who quite often can't be bothered to do the show. I don't know what it is this week. I think he's either been pinged by the app or can't get petrol.
But just on that note, on a personal level, Dave is at a dogging site. And I believe that. The only thing I'd say
is... We'll be pinged by the app very soon then.
I'll be honest with you, I've only ever missed one show. And that was New Year's Eve. Well, I made half the show, and then the other half of the show I was absolutely wankered at that point. But that's a highlight that I have. What's been your highlights for the
show? Highlight, I think New Year's Eve.
Yes, that was a good show.
You get utterly cunted, and then one of our guests upset Dave so much he left the show. So I was left to do the whole show on my own.
Oh, I remember all of these. We started off. This is a little bit of trivia. We started this off literally just to do 4 shows, four weekly shows. We ended up doing this for 6 months straight. and then we went monthly. And then the only thing we found out is like we're all busy now. We've all got loads and loads of sort of live stuff and gigs and all this kind of stuff. And even our guests are blessed. Vlad has got Dave Chorner's Wi-Fi. This is it. But yes, he's gone. He's gone. He's disappeared. He's now no longer here. Lovely. But we were literally only going to do this for 4 shows, and thank you so much for all the people who've been watching the shows. Every week we get like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of views and stuff. But yeah, Vlad's back. Vlad's back.
I am back. Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
Did you touch something, Vlad? Did you touch something?
How's your week been, Jake?
It's been good. It's been good. It's been good. I've been looking forward to this show. I've got so many gigs coming up and courses and all sorts of things coming up that I'm practically like for the next year. This is almost like pre-COVID times now. Like my diary is nice and full again, and I'm going out and gigging and all this. And to be perfectly honest, I said this in every show that we've ever done. I so miss standing, and I'm gutted I missed the Fringe this year. I'm so gutted. You were up at the Fringe this year. How was it?
Fringe. It was great. It was absolutely brilliant. Because there were so few shows on, we all did really well. And also, it meant I was at home for a whole month working. And then since the Fringe ended, I've mainly been going to gigs by public transport. But this weekend, I've got to drive all the length and breadth of England right at the start of the bloody fuel crisis. So, but I do have a full tank. Took the 2 goes. But that is the state of
Oh, Vlad's cracking up. From what I gather, he's got a full tank. It's the Jay Sodergar show. It's going to have to. This is what I've always wanted. Yep, this is what I've always wanted. This is the way how I've orchestrated this. This is so I can have my own show. We are renaming tonight's show the Jay Sodergar Show on a Thursday, and a few guests. That's basically what we're going to rename the show. And we'll be back every single week with just me. There you go. Now, unfortunately, I think Vlad's got some little technical issues and stuff. But having said that, it's always a pleasure to have everyone down. And this show does work by donations. I don't know whether the producers in there's got the little kind of PayPal-y little link thing that will show up. But yes, there we are. Anything that you can donate is hugely appreciated. And it's the last one. So knock yourself out. Whatever you want to give. So let's move on to our very, very first interview, and it's the producer himself being interviewed. It's God. God is being interviewed by Dave Chorner on our very first thing. So without further ado, let me introduce our very first guest, Mr. Alex Petty. No sound. Oh, this is perfect. Start as we mean to go on. We've lost Vlad. We've lost our first interview between Dave and Alex. Hopefully, we'll get it back. I may get a message from God sooner or later.
I might as well join in at the moment because there's barely an interview. I'm going to cue that up again with sound and we'll try again. So say something funny and we'll be back to the interview and see if we can get anything working tonight.
Oh, Nigel Farage, what a cunt. There you go. But it's lovely. It's lovely kind of doing these kind of Thursday shows. Again, look, we had such a blast doing it, and we know you guys have had a blast watching us and having fun. We did everything we possibly could do with a mask in Mask Tasker. Literally everything. That could be broadcast. But yeah, no, here we are. Here we are. Oh, we've got an interview. Is it going to come?
So I am here with the man who is normally behind the camera, setting everything up. We're here with Alex Petty, owner of Laughing Horse Comedy Clubs, Free Festival, everything. How would you like to be? How would you like to be addressed?
Usually ends up just being the boss. I've got an official
Boss.
title of like company director, but that's nonsense.
I think Bruce Springsteen's already
no.
nabbed the boss.
No. The boss is definitely
he nabbed that off you. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So how well do you know Bruce Springsteen? Because he's obviously doing another business. So
one of our best former acts from a pub in Richmond.
Well, you know what? Like, this is a very good point because you have Ed Sheeran.
Yes, yeah. Fun fact: probably our most famous act to come out of a Fringe festival.
I mean, this is incredible.
Is not a comedian for a comedy club. Yeah.
So take us through that one. Where was that?
That was at it was the Quadrant in Brighton, which as anyone listens to this probably doesn't know, it is a tiny little pub in Brighton that you'd get about 60 people in a 40-seater room. And he did an improvised music show there. It was about 6 months before. And it was a music show. It was a company called Lyrics Organics.
Wow.
And it was about 7 or 8, and they were doing improvised music. And it was about 6 months before he got his first single out and obviously went famous.
Rod Gilbert as well.
Yes, yeah, he was
Greg Davis.
All that come through the competition. And
Tell us about Rod Gilbert. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
He was great.
Great.
That you can tell in a new act competition because a lot of those acts have come as a package where they already are great and have got their personality.
Wow.
And what you've got to now on TV, and you see Rod and his whimsy and his sort of flight to fact and what he's like on the panel shows, and that was Rod 10, 15 years ago it was.
Was it your comedy course that Rod and Greg met?
No, it wasn't. No, we can't lay claim to that one. They were in similar years to the competition. I think Rod just after, but yeah, no, we can't. That wasn't ours. We can't blame Jade Sodiger for that one.
That's very honest, but I'm just gonna lie. Like, I think it's just better to lie.
I mean, there are people out there who would say that's it. I create all of those careers personally just because they did a gig. I fire the gun at 1 o'clock every day as well.
Very good.
It's all me.
How did it all start for you?
For us, it came about. Kevin McCarran, who was great when he came on the show. When we finally got his technology working, we started Laughing Horse in '99, and pretty much Edinburgh was sold to us by comedians who had been up there and going up there, and that's really the first either me or Kevin had really heard about it because that was our first getting into the industry. There was this thing called Edinburgh Fringe, but didn't really know what happened at Edinburgh Festival. And we, after a year or two, we really thought we need to go up there and have a look at it and check it out. So we went up, not really as punters, but pretty much as comedy promoters going up there and to have a look around and see shows. And we just went up. I think the first year was like 2001 or so.
Wow.
And just like so many people when they get to Edinburgh the first time, it's just jaw drop.
Yeah.
This is amazing. This is Disneyland for comedians. This is the best place. Not just comedians, for all performers everywhere. From our point of view at that point, it was just wow.
Yeah.
And we were doing the thing that punters still do now. We had the spreadsheet, we had the bits of paper, we were watching 8 shows a day.
Brilliant.
Running from one to another, all these fantastic acts, and it's just like how do we become part of this?
Now, before we move on, because you're absolutely right. There are fantastic acts, but something that I don't want to skip over. You've obviously seen a lot of comedy, a lot of theatre, a lot of fringe performances. What's the worst thing? Without naming any names, what's the worst thing you've ever seen?
The only show I've ever walked out of. Which I didn't quite walk out of because I was being too polite. I waited for a change. There was an improviser,
right,
that was quite surreal, and I felt like it was a hostage situation in the Pleasance attic, one of the little rooms upstairs at the Pleasance. I think it was the Pleasant attic. And we'd gone because Kevin, the former Laughing Horse business partner, was a fan. And it was an act that was actually quite well known, and I just thought it was the most shocking thing.
Brilliant.
Unfortunately, we were at the end of a row near the exit, and I said, I've got to go. And we just waited until the scene changed and a blackout, and pretty much I disappeared. And Kevin, it turned out, back then was a little bit deaf, and he hadn't realised that was what I was going to do. And afterwards, he just said to me, he said, the lights got, I turned around and you were gone. Kidnapped by the performer. It's been a huge turnaround, I think, in the last 10 years or so of the Fringe, that it's no longer all about the big corporates.
Yeah.
They're still a big part of it, but people will look a bit further. And there's been small venues, there's been my venues, there's been free venues, there's been pay what you want venues, there's been everything that have brought people through, that performers that are doing the Fringe the way they want to now, can get that chance. And don't have to spend the huge amount of money going to, the big Pleasants, the big venues, which can rightly cost them a lot of money. For that 1%, it can be hugely successful, but for everyone else, it can cost a mortgage essentially.
What do you think is the future of the Fringe?
That's such an interesting question. If you'd asked me this question after the 2019 Fringe, I could have sat here and said, this is how I think it's going to continue.
Wow.
But now, post-COVID and post the Fringe we've just had, which was absolutely amazing in a weird, unique way, I really don't know. I'd like to think there's going to be more opportunities for people, because people have seen, because the big players weren't so present this year, there was a lot more opportunities for people and the smaller venues to get that review coverage. There was less review coverage because it was such a last minute Fringe that a lot of the papers weren't planning to be there for the month. But you'd have papers like the Times doing a whole page on free shows because they were hanging out at the Counting House and the Three Sisters, watching lots of people because there wasn't anything else there. And getting that conversation goes, that publications that wouldn't necessarily go to the smaller venues have had to discover them. It's pushed it forward because of just the nature of it. So there's positives like that, which can hopefully continue. Audiences have gone to other venues because a lot of the main places haven't been there, or some of the main places have had one room running instead of 14. So that's hopefully changed the psychology of a lot of people to get out and see things and do different venues and different shows. Hopefully, we shall see next year how it bounces back, how COVID still affects things next year. It's going to be an interesting 12 months. Click. Vlad is definitely the favourite. Sorry, Jay. Sorry, Dave. Because Vlad was in Edinburgh this year and he kept buying drinks.
Really?
Yeah. Vlad beat Jay.
So Scottish.
Very Scottish. He was very good on buying around. I mean, you obviously couldn't make it up because you were busy. Jay couldn't make it up because he's got a very comfortable couch in St Albans that he likes to lay on and not go anywhere. But yeah, Vlad wins the prize.
I actually think credit where credit's due, because it's very rare that you will find someone that's very keen to buy rounds. Yeah. So I think that's absolutely great.
Yeah, but love the three of you.
I'm gonna
and it's the tell for yourself and Jay are 4.5 stars. We're allowed to give half stars now.
Yeah, but what he doesn't say is that's out of 50. So doing the Thursday show?
Favourite thing about doing the Thursday? It's been great to get together with mates. Not you guys definitely, but all the people we've invited along. That I mean, I know I'm off camera.
Yeah.
But it's the banter beforehand, the banter afterwards, and just being able to keep performing and keep putting shows on when for so long we couldn't do it.
I know this is a really sad thing to say, but I think one of my favourite things about doing the Thursday show has been that episode with Lynn Ruth Miller.
Oh, it was.
I think that's how she would want to
Lynn
be
Ruth Miller.
remembered.
Lynn would absolutely want to be remembered for causing the chaos on that and just being that big character in the middle of anything.
It was great.
No, so, who would have thought that the Thursday show might last longer than Lynn Ruth Miller? Because everyone thought Lynn was pretty much gonna be here forever.
I had not thought of that. Well, on that bombshell,
to end the interview,
Alex Petty.
Oh, what a great interview. And there's Vlad again. Bless you. Yes. Apparently, you're the favourite one. Apparently,
yeah, because I was at the Fringe.
All right. You don't have to rub my fucking face in this, okay? All right. I missed out this year. I'm going back. I'm going to do 5 shows a day next year, and I'll buy Alex a drink.
So is everyone else, and that's going to fucking ruin it.
This year, I think a lot of comedians have said it's been the glory year, where literally every show was packed and full. Normally, every year, every comic kind of flyers and struggles and does all this. But this year, everyone, because there were so few shows, everyone was packed. Your show, you had to do extra shows. Is that right?
I did 9 extra shows, and it was ridiculous. I mean, the amount of money I made this year will buy me a tank of petrol.
Diesel.
Yeah, well, maybe not diesel. That's but yeah, it was absolutely amazing. It really was. And what was so good to see was the public's appetite for comedy, and people wanted to come to Edinburgh. People from all over the UK came up. It ended up being a bit of a super spreader, to be perfectly honest, because quite a lot of people returned positive tests at the end of it.
Yes.
But 10 days later, all fine. Good. And I am back out on the road now this weekend. And I've had to try and get a full tank of petrol. But as I was saying before, I think the way the government are going to spin this is we're fulfilling our agreement, our conditions of the Paris Agreement on climate change, just by making it bloody difficult to get any fossil fuels at all. I think my highlight of the last week or so was Boris Johnson addressing the UN and telling them they had to grow up. You're like, wait a minute. When Boris Johnson tells you to grow up, that is a bit of a wake-up call. It's about he told them to grow up and then quoted Kermit the Frog. Fucking grown up was that. I think it was Johnson going for another of these. He's always going for these Churchill moments, isn't he, Johnson? Yeah. He wants to be considered in history as being like Churchill. He's fucking not like Churchill. Tell you the difference between Churchill and Johnson. There's 2 differences. Churchill had good speechwriters and could remember his lines. Johnson can't remember what he's been told to say by the time he gets behind the podium. But you think some of those lines of Churchill's, never before in the field of human conflict has so much been out to so many by so few. We will fight them on the beaches. We'll fight them on the... Those are inspiring words, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Given they were delivered by a functioning alcoholic.
Yes.
Doing a very bad impression of Winston Churchill. Much more inspiring than well beating, contact test, contact test tracing, got a well beating, contact test. We're going to send coronavirus packing in 12 weeks. Wash your hands. That's Kermit the Frog would say. And the second thing about Winston Churchill is Winston Churchill's war cabinet was full of the greatest political heavyweights of the 1940s. A coalition government of every single political party. Boris Johnson's COVID cabinet does not even include the most able people in the current Conservative Party. Here's the thing, Jake. I don't trust politicians who don't look like politicians. Dominic Raab does not look like the Deputy Prime Minister. Dominic Raab looks like he should be the manager of a branch of the Carphone warehouse in Slough. Grant Shapps. Now, ignore the fact his name sounds like a rather unpleasant bowel condition. Grant Shapps looks like he's some kind of seedy used car salesman who also coaches a youth football team and, in his own words, has been far too busy to fill in his disclosure form.
You speak the truth, Vlad. You speak the truth. Yeah, I'd vote for you. I definitely would.
And I've actually had issues with the NHS this week. Yeah, I got a reminder letter before the Fringe, end of July. I got that letter about my bowel screening. You know, where you have to shit in a stick. And in Scotland, you have to shit in a stick, put it in an envelope, and send it to Dundee. That's where we send our shit in Scotland, Dundee. Very apt place. Anyway, I didn't get round to it because I was far too busy during the Fringe. And then I went on holiday. And at the start of this week, I got a reminder, which makes me think there's some guy sitting behind a desk in Dundee who's been drumming his fingers in the desk for the last 6 weeks, wondering what the hell's happened to my shite. I'm gonna sit this one out. No pun intended. I'm gonna see what the next move is. Having sent me a reminder, I'm gonna see if they're gonna send me a final demand, and then ask me to add an extra 10%.
Or they send the boys around to get it.
As a late penalty, and then possibly threaten me with sending around the debt collection agency to get the shit. Tell you the one thing they won't be able to do, they won't be able to in any way threaten to cut off my supply. Because I'm a vegetarian and that supply is fucking limitless. As viewers of this show will know, I am fucking full of shit.
Oh, I love you, Vlad. I love you. I'm gonna miss you.
I love the show, mate, and I'm gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss it.
Well,
we're gonna meet up in
2022. We're gonna do this show live in front of people.
Yes,
Right.
and stream it, as well. Yep. So all of our regulars can still see it. Awesome. Now the one thing is, right, this show is genuinely rubbing my face in it because I didn't go to the Fringe, but I'm going to talk to a very, very lovely comedian who also went to the Fringe. All that's going to happen is everyone's just going to say, "Oh, it was the best year ever," and I'm going to sit there when I went to Cyprus, for crying out loud. But yes, fuck off. That's Alex. I never liked him. I'll be honest with you. I never liked him as a producer. Anyway, let's do this. It gives me great pleasure. Yes, it gives me great pleasure to introduce this next comic. We met some years ago, I guess, and it's wonderful to hear from her. So let me introduce you to the one and the only Daphna Barum.
Hey,
how are you, Daphna?
I'm good. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
very excited to be here on your last show.
Yes, I know, our last show. Listen, I know every comic is going to rub my face in this and say that they had sold out shows and it was packed and everything.
You were in Cyprus?
Yes, I was in Cyprus. And I didn't enjoy it. The reason being, I don't swim. Okay, I don't swim. So going to a swimming pool is pointless. I don't like hot weather, despite the look. So going to somewhere that's like 40 degrees is pointless. And I've already got a towel. So I don't need any of the constitute parts of a holiday.
Why did you go to Cyprus, Jane?
I got married about 15 years ago and had 2 kids, and then they sat there and went, I got voted out. I was my own kind of boss, and then I invited 3 more people into my life that then voted me out.
15 years ago, I would have told you. What's this echo that I'm hearing?
Oh, is it me echoing?
No,
this
it's
is
me
the Thursday show. An interview would not be. It would not go well if there wasn't some sort of technical problems or whatever. But listen, Daphna, so you did a show up in Edinburgh this year. What was it about? And tell me a bit about it.
My show is called Unmuted. So I was basically celebrating the fact that I could finally go and talk shit to the world, which I missed a lot. And it was about it was a bit about COVID, a bit about the World Cup, about football. And football and politics, but mainly it was the story of how I wanted in May this year to just have a little bit of a holiday, just like you did, go into the sunshine, go visit my family. And I went to Israel via Croydon, which already should have been a warning. And I felt they basically had a war just for me. I arrived and just rockets started falling in protest of my arrival. And I ended up basically spending the whole thing at home, watching television with my mum, swearing at the television, catching up on EastEnders. So, that's basically my show. And it's also about, there's a serious bit to it, which is about the story of my mom and how she never listens to the alarm when it goes off, and how she lost her arm in 1967, and she still doesn't listen. So, yeah.
You being in Israel watching EastEnders is like the most violent episode of Gogglebox, I think.
It was rather violent, but it actually ended up being quite a fun show. Obviously, I'm gonna rub your face in it, Jay. It was amazing. It was, and I must say, listen, Alex, just because from the moment that Alex went on Facebook and was like, yeah, I'm thinking maybe doing it. And I was like, I'm going to burn £1,000 now. And I emailed Alex and I said, me, give me that room. And I actually made this money back before I even set foot in Edinburgh. So I'm super grateful. And I had a great time and I was sold out and all this stuff. And today, actually, I got my money from the Fringe. So now I'm feeling rich and I've turned the heating on.
Now, just to put this into context, I went to Cyprus. It cost me $4,000. Okay, that's all. $4.5 grand. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Expensive, right? It's a. Okay.
I only go to very, very nice places. I only go to very nice places.
Obviously, I was supposed to go to Portugal for a tiny bit, and it all the day I booked it. I was kind of sitting with my phone. I was chatting to a friend who got stuck in New Zealand. What better to be stuck in? And I said to him, I'm going to book myself a holiday in Portugal. And he said, oh, they said that tomorrow they're going to brand it red again. And I was like, oh, shut up, you bastard. You're in New Zealand anyway. Boom, I booked the thing. The next morning, I woke up to find out that Portugal was red and I couldn't go. And I didn't get my money back from Ryanair. So, yeah, so I thought I might as well go to Edinburgh. I had a great time. I'm really glad that I did that. Yeah.
It's been very, very weird times, COVID and lockdown, and then when things are starting to open up, the chaos of sort of opening things up and everything. It's been very, very weird. I want to kind of go back to pre-COVID, to the happier days when the Fringe was a struggle and you had to go and flyer and all this kind of business. But how many Fringes have you done now?
11.
11
Can you believe it?
wow.
This is my 9th solo show. Not all of them have done the whole month, but I've been to 11 Fringes. My first one was a 3-hander, and then in 2012 I did 2 2-handers, and then as from like 2013 I've been doing solo show every year.
Wow. I've been to the Fringe. What was it? 17 times I've been to the Fringe. Obviously, with the exception of the last 2 years.
Wow.
But I do miss it. I do love it. Well, I'm always fascinated because
year,
we met.
some guy, somebody on some newspaper actually was writing nice things and recommending for people to see my show, called me a fringe veteran. And suddenly I was like, what? I only just started doing stand-up, like it was what only 11 years ago. Yeah, sorry, but you were saying?
No, I very similar to what you were saying. It's like it does feel weird because I've been called a fringe veteran before, and I because it's a new project you work on every single year. You never feel like, oh, I'm an old hand at this. You always are starting from scratch and writing a new show. How did you get into stand-up?
I had a heart attack, which is the best way to get into stand up. I mean, honestly, I was 39 years old. I was at the gym in Haringey, London, running on this, what is it called, this torture machine, the treadmill. And I just, my heart attacked me out of no good reason. It's not a good idea to run and smoke at the same time. I just have to know that. And that's what I discovered at my peril, because I had a little clot and I was running and the blood was pumping. And basically, I ended up in an ambulance thinking, two things I was thinking while I was in an ambulance. Okay. One was, I must tell them that I'm in pain because they will give me amazing drugs. And if I'm going to die, I might as well. And the other thing that I was thinking is, I'm probably not going to have children. Okay, that's not done yet. And that was it. That was me contemplating having children in the ambulance. But after that, I did 2 wedding speeches, and of my friends, because obviously my friends, while I was having a heart attack, were getting themselves married. And one of them, a guy called Chris Morris, was there, whom I've not heard anything about, but turned out that he's a very famous comedy writer, as I know now. And he said to the groom, who was that girl who did the speech? Who's her agent? Give me his name. And Kit, the groom, he's a posh boy, and he said, I am her personal manager, and I will see to it that she embarks on the stand-up career. And they bought me a course at the comedy school in Primrose Hill, and that's how I started doing comedy 11 years ago. For my 40th birthday, that was my present. I started stand-up. So that's
That is amazing. I did not know that. I did not
really?
know that. Because I think we've met at gigs. We've met at gigs, and it has just been like very briefly here and there.
Some cellar down in West London somewhere. A very small.
They're always sellers. They're always sellers.
Yeah.
Listen,
that was the first time I met you, I think.
Listen, Daphna, stick around. We've got some more stuff to come along, but we've got another interview. So here is the
Hey, Vlad didn't get me a drink in Edinburgh.
I owe you a drink, Daphna.
I know. It's noted.
In the Pear Tree Garden.
So you need to come down to London this winter.
We were both up in Edinburgh doing very well, Jay.
Yes, this is the perfect time your internet should cut out, Vlad. That's all I'm saying. Fuck off, Alex.
Vlad's show was the first show that I went to see in the Fringe.
Cut me out.
All I'm saying is you owe me a lot of drinks now for next year.
Probably.
Do you actually have it every week with this kind of talk?
When I was up in Edinburgh, I met up with an old mate, and he's an old mate of everyone's. One of the real, we're talking about fringe veterans. This man redefines the word veteran. I met up in the Pleasance Courtyard with the legendary Ivor Dembina during the Fringe. We did a little pre-recorded interview. Basically, the gist of this interview was how good the Fringe was because no one was doing any flyering. And then the interview, which has gone very well for the first 5 minutes, get interrupted by this really annoying person handing out flyers in the Pleasance Courtyard. And this is pretty much what happened from then on.
You had a flyer to
I've got a flyer.
Shut up and go away.
Yeah, let's do it, Mojo.
Yeah,
You're going to be on...
Mojo, don't go and see it.
No, don't see it.
I can't come and see your show then.
Don't. I promise you're going to be big in Bulgaria. Let's go.
Well, we could go right back to the start, couldn't we?
I think we should just steam on them.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
poor bastards edit it.
Yes, having been interrupted by that one person who's
It was interesting you said that, but you're right. But in fact, what you said is right, and I think in a way, what she said is true. Because there's so much few shows, a lot of people don't want to do the flying. The few people like, including me, I have to say, people. She was right actually. She was a bit, you know. She was doing her job.
Yes.
But she's right. Those of us who have got flights, people are snatching it out their hands, whereas normally after 3 days, people look the other way. The other thing, that happened was that we thought that because there wasn't going to be any cash, that everything was going to have to be booked up front. We thought, oh, that's the end. The very opposite.
No, that's absolutely right. And okay, we're not going to see that money till September, October, or whenever, but we do know it's guaranteed.
And it's going to be a significant sum as well. I mean, I don't mind anyone knowing. I mean, I'm not a millionaire, but financially, I'm not doing the whole one. I'm doing about half of it, 2/3. I'm making as much money in just 2/3 of the run as I would in the whole run. It's just phenomenal. I think we just got lucky in that respect, don't you?
I think we got lucky. I think the other thing we didn't factor in was the fact that there are so many tourists in town. I had kind of thought, and that's the reason I did a show, I've got a pretty loyal local fan base, and I thought, well, they'll come out.
Yeah.
What has really surprised me has been the vast majority of my audiences have been from England.
Yeah, that's just the locals are fed up with you.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But the thing is, because the other thing that is, it's all a series of accidents that have conspired to create success. Because people, you can't travel, you're not allowed on a plane. So people having small mini holidays in the UK or Scotland, however you care to call it, and they're thinking, well, I fancy doing a week. I don't want to sit on a beach or in a cottage all day. Or we'll go to the Fringe for a week.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all gone our way.
Yeah, this is the nearest people have to a foreign holiday.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah. You'll probably find the reason there's so few Scottish people coming to the shows is they've all fucked off to England to go on holiday.
Yeah.
They got a Blackpool.
Well, they might have, but I don't know. Yeah, but it's just been a series of like positive shows, and which I say have conspired to make it a great success. And there are various other things that I've liked about. Firstly, let me say this is a one-off. You know, there'll never be a Fringe like this. Never. And I'm so glad I came. I feel very lucky that I took a chance. And I really think the people, the people who took the risk, and I'm not really talking about myself, I'm talking particularly the youngsters, the ones who got no money, or who took a risk on themselves and came. They need to be credited with having a bit of guts, a bit of balls, and that.
And taking a risk.
Yeah, which is what let's face it, comedy is about, and the payback is that whereas in most years, we see a few people going, man, oh, with a terrible Fringe, nobody's come in, I've lost thousands of pounds and all this. Those people, they're not here this year. Everyone's doing relatively well.
Well, we say that we're here in the Pleasance. They'll still be losing. People doing shows here will still be losing thousands of pounds.
Well, yeah, but that's the pleasant.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
Our level, at the unpleasant.
Yeah.
We this is a different world here, but here they're I don't know, they're going to struggle. I mean, because what happened, in fairness to the Pleasance, which used to be an absolutely beautiful venue when I used to play in that attic. I did my first ever one-man show, and but now it's all come corporate and stuff like that. I mean, it's still a beautiful environment.
It's a beautiful environment.
It's a lovely environment.
But this kind of illustrates how quiet Edinburgh is. We're sitting in a nice afternoon in the Pleasance courtyard.
On what's it, Friday? It's a Friday afternoon. No, it's a Thursday.
Thursday afternoon,
Yeah.
and we had a choice of seats.
We had a seat.
Yeah, but no, we had about 5 different seats to choose from. You'd never get that normally, would you?
I mean, they do. It's very hard for them because obviously it's a large venue with lots of spaces to obviously even to. I mean, you got to give them a pat on the back just for opening up because it's a very costly enterprise to. You know, they've got to rig it with lights, sound, and all this sort of thing, and staff it and administer it. So, I mean, good for them that they've opened because I don't know about all the other ones they have.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I know Underbelly and Gilda Balloon have got some, and Assembly. I've got things like George Square, but they're a fraction of what they normally do. So you were talking about that first solo show. When was that?
I think it was in 1994.
Well,
I did a show called.
right.
Basically, my story is I was a club comic like you and everybody else, and I wasn't much good at it. Really, to be honest, I just couldn't really hack it. I mean, yeah, I did my best, but I was never gonna make it as a club comedian. And I thought, oh no, you know, I was competing with very, very good, you know, performers. You know, and then I thought, oh God, this isn't for me. So then I realised, because I couldn't compete with those people who were playing just much better than me, I'm not making any excuses. I thought, I'd have to go on after someone like Frank Skinner or Joe Brand and Eddie Izzard. And of course, I'd die in the arse. But then I thought, it sounds a bit weedy, but I'm going to tell you the truth. If I just do my own show, I'm not going to talk about the things I want to talk about. I don't have to, fulfill anyone's agenda, but I don't have to go on after Joe Brand. People have come to see just me. So I'll live and die by my own efforts. And to my immense surprise, I lived more than I died. I had a few death ones. And over the years, and I just realised that that's what I was better at doing. You know, I still enjoy it. I compare shows now and again. I get up and hack it out for a few minutes. But this is what I'm better at. And I don't want to say, I think my shows are quite good. I think they're worth seeing. But it's taken me time to learn how to do it. But the other thing, and you do a one-man show. You're a good club comic too. But the thing is,
I think you do yourself the service.
Well, I've learned how to do it.
Yeah.
Now I could probably do it. But the thing is, I was terrible at the beginning. That's what I was saying.
We all were.
Anyway, so what happened is now I have an affection for doing the solo shows. I now feel, forgive me if I sound arrogant, but I actually feel like I'm a proper comedian now. I feel like I can go on and people can come and see me.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, because I've run little clubs over the years, at times people have gone on these club comics, they've stormed it, a crowd have gone crazy. And then the following week, the people come and she said, Ivor, that bloke you had on, that Scottish guy with the silver hair, whatever. He was great. I said, oh yeah. What was his name?
Okay. Never remember.
Never mind. You're just a part of an army of people who just go on. You don't really have an opportunity. Most club comedians don't develop their own independent comic voice, and that's why I say sorry. I say, I say once you feel you got the hang of it. It takes a bit of time. No, I'm not mocking doing short sets of club comedy, but once you feel you're on your feet, write your first one-man show. You'll enjoy it more. You don't have to have the money or who's booking. You don't have to worry about your status on the circuit, whether you're opening, closing, who books you, don't book you, likes you, who hates you. All that stuff goes out the window. You just, you're what you're meant to be. As Woody Allen said, your job of a stand-up comic is to tell the audience who you are.
Right. Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Listen, we saw earlier in the show what you're doing on the streets of London. You brought that up here, haven't you?
I have.
And you've been doing it in the most unusual parts of Edinburgh. You were saying you've been doing it in the streets.
That's right.
What was it, in the Cowgate the weekend?
I beg your pardon.
You said you were doing it at the Cowgate at the weekend. For those of you who don't know the Cowgate, it is kind of where stag do's and hen do's and very drunk young people congregate. And this man here was doing street comedy to these people.
It's like, particularly as I was doing it around 11 o'clock at night.
Oh God, right, that way.
Oh yeah, I was just walking home and I just saw the sign and I was surrounded by these group of they were Black Regions actually. They were a bit there, but I wasn't, I thought, oh come on, and he saw my, and this is a true story. He says 3 jokes for £1. He says, I said yeah. So he said, "You got any change?" So I said, "Well, yeah, I have." So he gave me this. I swear, and if you're watching this, I don't know if this game. It was a lovely kid. There was about 3 or 4 of them. They were men actually, and they were a bit tasty. They were out. They had a few drinks, and they had this nice woman. They all about 25. And he says, "Have you got any change?" And I said, "Yeah, all right." And so he said, "So he gave me a £5, and I gave him £4 change." That was the deal. He was all right. So I told him my 3 jokes, and I had a good old banter with them. And I'll tell you a bit of the banter afterwards. But they were lively kids, and I was a 70-year-old man. But it went off nicely. And he said, "You're great, mate." And as he shook my hand, he had those £4 and he put them back in my hand.
Brilliant.
Absolutely great.
Yeah.
Well, I won't forget that.
Yeah.
I won't forget that. But so anyway, I was telling this joke. And the prelude. Should I just tell the joke?
Yeah, just tell the joke.
All right, I'll do it on you.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favourite sandwich?
Hummus and salad.
Hummus and salad. White bread or brown bread?
Brown.
Posh. All right, posh. Yeah. Hummus salad in brown. This hummus salad sandwich. Brown bread. It walks into a pub, yeah? It walks into a pub. And a sandwich, it looks at the barman and it says to the barman, "I'll have a beer." Yeah. The barman looks at the sandwich. "I'm sorry, mate, we don't serve food." It's a very old joke. But anyway, so I always tell it in that way. And I said, I set it up that way. I asked the guys, "What's your favourite sandwich?" Thinking they were going to say haggis or something. Anyway, they were too pissed even to understand what was doing them. So I turned to the woman, nice, attractive, striking woman. She's quite modern looking, I says to her, "Come let me tell the Johnny." I said, "What's your favourite sandwich, love?" She says, in a Glaswegian accent, which sadly I can't do, but she said, "My favourite sandwich is my favourite sandwich, cheese and cum."
Yeah, they go. You can take the girl out of Glasgow, but you can't take Glasgow out of the girl.
You can't take the cum out of us.
No, you can't take the cum out of her mouth. Listen, Ivor, it's been an absolute joy.
Lovely.
We're here for another week. You're going home, sadly, but
when's this going to go out?
It's going to go out once you're back in London.
All right, but if you listen, I'm going to tell you something. The last weekend, because sadly I won't be here for, it's going to be mental. And so if you want to have a really exciting view in it, it's going to be mental the last weekend. And if you're seeing this and you're not doing anything interesting over that last weekend, you should get up here.
Yeah.
Sadly I won't be here, but Vlad and all the others will.
Come up here and spend your money.
Yeah, it's worth it, honestly. It'll cost you a few quid, but what are you going to spend it on otherwise? I don't. It's not for me to tell people how to spend their money, but you'll have a good time. It's been fantastic.
It's been great. Best year ever.
Best ever. It is. Yeah. It's just completely different.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey. Yes, that was a beautiful interview. That was a beautiful interview.
Yeah. Apart from the person handing out the fucking flyers.
just more people who went to the Edinburgh Fringe and said, "Best year ever." Thank you
Best year
so
ever,
fucking
Jane.
much.
Yeah, without a doubt, you should have been there.
Yes, I did. Jay Sodergaard didn't do the Fringe to protect Scotland from COVID. We admire his sacrifice by taking it to Cyprus. Yes, I infected them. Yes, this is why Daphna couldn't go to Portugal, because it's not far from Cyprus.
It's true.
This is why.
I get you for this, Jay. I had a great time.
So therefore, I should get my dues for this. Vlad, you owe me a drink. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I owe Daphna a drink too.
Yeah, I think this is what we need to be doing soon.
I owe everyone a drink, and I tell you what, I made so much money during the Fringe, I can afford to buy you a drink, Jay.
Yay!
Hey!
I can buy you one back.
And some petrol.
Everyone's going to
drink
just do
petrol.
this. Why couldn't Dave be on the show? I bet he's doing the Fringe right now, isn't he? I bet he is. He's just gone up to the Fringe.
I bet Dave is in a queue at a filling station.
Why is he not here? I thought it was because of me.
He's never here, Daphna.
Is he never here?
He's always got an excuse.
I thought he made an effort for me. I mean,
And speaking of dicks, we should do our final round. Final round of Desert Island Dicks.
Desert Island Dicks! Yay!
Amazing.
Yeah, here's the rules of Desert Island Dicks, Daphna.
Okay.
You have to think of a person or a type of person who is such a dick, you would send them to a desert island.
Okay, I've got it.
Go.
Now? Okay.
Yeah.
So I just have, basically we're talking about everybody, but I want to explain why everybody needs to go, because there are two types of people that I really developed an aversion to during COVID. One was obviously the type of people who go, the people like me, they're nice, they care, they don't want to catch COVID, they don't want to give it to other people, and then they go to the park and they come back and they put on Facebook something like that. They're like the Stasi. I went to the park for a completely justifiable reason, and there were so many other motherfuckers there. There were so many. What were they doing there? What the fuck were you doing there? This is what I want to know. I mean, shut up. Stop preaching to people. I mean, obviously, these are the people. I don't know why they were pissing me off so much, because actually I feel exactly like them, but I just shut up about it. But then there are the other people, obviously, this is all a conspiracy between the right Darth Vader and Bill Gates in order to fucking invent this. Shut up, right? I mean, I would conspire with anybody to shut these people out. I would conspire with the Megazord and that green thing with the teeth, Matt Hancock, that one. I would conspire with him because to shut these people out. So my idea is, let's take all these people and stick them on a desert island. But I must say, I was then thinking about it. This is exactly what happened on this fucking island, isn't it? This is exactly the kind of people who are stuck here. And I am the one who immigrated here. So there you go. I'm stuck with you. The only element that was missing was a bit of desertiness.
I think next time we do the show, Daphna, we should have you on with Jojo Sutherland.
Yes, please. I miss Jojo.
Oh, yes. You get on like a house on fire.
Let's do the anger show. Yeah.
Or you set her house on fire. Because that's the thing. We do live on a desert island. It's just not a very warm desert.
Listen, I'm menopausal as of this year. This is a fucking hot island. I did not turn my heating once on this winter. It was great. I'm loving it.
Tell you who I'd send to a desert island. People who cross the road texting.
Listen.
Fucking pricks. People who cross the road texting and don't look where they're going. I think legally you should be allowed to run them over. And not only can you legally be allowed to run them over, you get negative points in your license.
I do
You
that, I must say.
You would drop 3 points by knocking down someone who was texting as they crossed the road. And I would do it now, except the trouble is, you can't knock down people who are crossing the road because you're stuck in a fucking traffic jam next to a bloody petrol station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will be
That's
me.
mine.
And mine, I think this is fairly obvious. Every comedian who went to the Edinburgh Fringe,
Fuck off.
fuck 'em. Send them all to the desert island, and then next year I will go up, right? And then I will go to the desert island and say, I had the greatest Fringe ever. Where were you? You just sat there and did. I even got Vlad to buy me a drink. That's
And we
what
will
I'm gonna
tell
say.
you that we had the best Fringe ever on our desert island. I mean, obviously, where else?
If ever I sat there and thought, please let something go wrong with my internet so I do not have to keep listening to this shit all the fucking time, this would be the time right now. I'm green with envy. I am genuinely green with envy, but it's been a cracking 11 months we've been doing this show.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Daphna. Are you doing anything, Daphna?
Yes, please come, you 2 guys from Melbourne who are listening to the show. I'm on the 22nd of October. I'm with my show Unmuted at the Museum of Comedy in London, and on the 23rd, I'm doing this thing that I dread a tiny bit, which is the first Jewish comedy festival. It's called Tzitzit, which basically means the Fringe. And I'm doing this in the King Alfred Phoenix in Golders Green. So please come. If you want to, you will not remember these details, but just look me up at Dismiss the Comedy, as in on the screen. This is my name everywhere: my website, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. Come to see my show. It's a lovely show, and I believe you'll enjoy it.
And she had a really good run at Edinburgh.
Yeah, she had a great run. And also, if you're from Leicester, come in February. I'm having 2 shows in Leicester.
Yeah. I am doing Oswald Whistle Golf Club in Accrington tomorrow night.
Ooh, I've been there.
And on Saturday, I'm doing the Shropshire Oktoberfest. Yes, that's a thing. In Shrewsbury. No, one thing I will plug. On the 7th of November, Sunday the 7th of November, it's an afternoon show at the Caroline of Brunswick in Brighton. Nick Coppin, who's been a previous guest on the show, is putting on a tribute show for the marvellous Lynn Ruth Miller, who we all miss. And we are doing a charity gig in the afternoon to raise money for a number of charities that were close to Lynn's heart. So the Caroline of Brunswick on Sunday, the 7th of November. I think it's a 3:30 show.
Great.
Awesome. And I guess for me to plug, I'm doing quite a few gigs. My next gig is, well, I'm teaching this weekend. So if anybody wants to learn about stand-up comedy or anything like that, do go onto the Laughing Horse site and whatever. And keep your eye open on my Facebook page and Twitter, and a website due to come out that will kind of list all of the gigs that I've got coming up. I am literally traveling up and down the UK, and I cannot wait to come and meet any of the people that have been watching the show. Hopefully one day I'll go to Melbourne.
I actually met one of our regulars, Liam Greenjacket.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Liam approached me in the street in Edinburgh. Because Liam is one of our regular viewers in the show, and he came up to me in the street and said, "Hey, it's Brad, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm Liam Greenjacket." And I've only ever known Liam Greenjacket as being a guy who comments. So I've never seen the guy. No, but Liam, thank you very much for supporting the show. Christy out there in Melbourne, in lockdown in Melbourne, thank you for supporting the show. Various other people, I mean, a lot of your students, Jay, have
Jay Saunders again.
Jay Saunders, Jay is a big supporter of us. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
thank you, finally, I think, to Alex. I mean,
yes,
we have
Yes.
seen on screen for the first time tonight, and this show would not happen without him. And we really, really, really do appreciate all the extra miles you've gone to. Now and again, having to cope with, well, tonight, my shit internet. Every single week, they could be asked to turn up in his own house. Dave Chauner's shit internet.
and we should also, yes,
I'll have to jump in and say I think I've contributed to a few
Hey,
technical
Dave,
problems.
yay! Dr. Alex Petty.
Why not
and
come in?
I guess we should also mention the other one,
Dave
Dave.
Chauner,
We
yeah,
should
we
also
should.
mention Dave.
We
Just
should,
to,
but let's not bother.
I love Dave.
yeah, never knew who he was
So do
anyway.
Well, we would if we could ever see him.
No, this show wouldn't be without, I guess, Vlad and Dave and Alex and all the guests that we've had, Daphna and Ivor and all the guests that we've had. It's been an absolute blast, everybody.
It's been brilliant.
a lot of
It's
fun.
been great fun over the last nearly a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll do this again. We'll do little one-offs and things like that.
Yeah, you come back.
Yeah. Like
I
a
think
Christmas
we should
one or a
definitely
New Year's Eve one
do-
where I get fucked.
We should do New Year's Eve again. We should definitely do New Year again. That was just so much fun.
We should do New Year again, but actually all be in a pub this time and film it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Nice.
the idea. This is the production meeting we have. This is
And then Jay won't have his children coming in trying to see what Daddy's doing, falling off his chair in a drunken stupor.
and my toilet will be clean. It won't have puke all over them. I think that's a fitting tribute and a fitting end to the very, very last Thursday show. It's a farewell from me. Thank you all very, very much for watching. Anybody else got anything?
I think Vlad's already gone.
Thank you for having me.
He's gone. He's checked out.
He's like-
Fuck this shit. I can't be bothered. There you go. Daphna, thank you very, very much for coming. And again, Alex.
Thank you for having me. Thank
We
you,
normally
Alex.
say sort of
Thank
see
you.
you
Cheers,
again
Daphna.
next time, but I guess we won't. But keep your eyes open on Facebook, and we'll probably put up a post on our little one-offs and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's it.
And the live shows in front of real audiences.
Yes, yes, yes. That is due to come, and we will be
Right.
streaming those as well.
Yeah, next year, Brighton Fringe next year, we'll be kicking those off, I think. Maybe some tester ones beforehand. So, yeah, lots to look forward to, hopefully.
That means all four of us will be in the same room at the same time. This would be so
Having
weird.
Well,
drinks and Vlad.
Probably not Dave Chauner.
Quite
He'll
a
be
lot of us
busy
were
yeah.
in the same
doing
room at
something.
the same time in Edinburgh during the Fringe.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wasn't
Don't
it
keep
great, Edinburgh, this year? You should have been there, Jay. It was
Oh,
fantastic.
Jay, you
this year,
missed
Jay.
out.
I can leave the fucking stream now if you want me to. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Cheers. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.